Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Good Hearted Podcast. Today, I'm talking about minimalism and whether or not I still see myself as a minimalist. And right off the bat, I'm going to say I don't think I technically fit the description of a minimalist because I still had stuff on my walls and things in my house. So I wasn't necessarily ever the minimalists, like the guys who started it all, right? Who literally just had a small couch and then a coffee mug and things like that. I liked aspects of the minimalist lifestyle and kind of infused those into my own life. And I had always kind of been a hoarder before this minimalism trend started. And then I got addicted to getting rid of things and not bringing new things into my home. So I kind of just wanted to talk about how that evolved for me and kind of where I'm at now with all of those things because my ideas have shifted yet again since I have become a mom. And I'm actually very happy, I think, with where I am now, right now, with my home. Although there's always things that I would fix or change or get rid of. But overall, my mentality when it comes to my home, I feel like I'm in a very good spot. So, when I first moved into a home with Dylan when we got married, we both filled it up pretty quickly. Both of us had a bunch of shit and we didn't even really know what it was. We just unpacked our rooms and filled up our tiny little rental house that we had. I remember we had a one car garage that was packed full of stuff. And so we never even got to park our car in it because it always was filled with other things. And I just found myself getting irritated. Like we were busting out of this house. We had a dresser in our bedroom and then another one in a guest bedroom. I had clothes in multiple closets. It was just chaos. And we never even had enough room in the kitchen for all the things that we had. And so when we moved into our first home that we bought together, I had gotten rid of some things, but I still kept the majority of my things. And I really just got tired of things not being organized and constantly feeling like I was cleaning the house because things didn't have a home. I'm pretty sure that's when I watched the minimalism documentary and it just became this huge buzzword. And I was like, what is this about? And so I did lots of research on it. I listened to audiobooks about it. I read books about it. And I really liked the idea of not feeling so ruled by my things because I definitely felt like I had no control over my home and that it was just chaos and that I held so much resentment and guilt over the things that I did have, whether it was guilt for having a lot of things and not having homes for them, or resentment because I wanted to get rid of the thing, but I had too much emotional attachment to it and felt like I would be betraying that item or some person if I got rid of that thing. And so learning more about minimalism really helped me change my mindset on things. It's just stuff. And Dylan and I have never really been huge materialistic people. Instead of doing gifts, we are happy to go on a trip or you go do something or get a tattoo, something that's not a physical object. But yet we still to this day end up accumulating so much stuff. If somebody says that they're getting rid of something, they're doing it for free, whatever, we will just scoop it up. And I still don't know why. We bring stuff into our house all the time that we don't need, but I don't know. I guess that's something we're still working on. But learning more about decluttering and minimalism allowed me to let go of a lot of things that had just been taking up so much valuable space in our home and allowed me to just feel like I had room to breathe because we lived in a pretty small house and we had a lot of stuff. So that is not a good combination. So for a lot of years, I tried to stop buying any kind of decorations for the house. I moved things around if I wanted to, but we didn't really buy new furniture. We tried to really stick with the things that we had, which a lot of the things we had were hand-me-downs. And still to this day, we have some hand-me-downs because thankfully for us, we just don't really care about that stuff. If it works, we'll take it and make it work. So minimalism just seemed to align with kind of our lifestyle and the lifestyle that we wanted. And I've always thought, like, I don't want to leave my kids with like a house full of shit that they don't even want to have to go through after I'm gone. But like I said, I kind of went off the deep end when I discovered like the idea of decluttering and minimalism. And so then, like, I was getting rid of everything. And it felt so good. I felt like literal weights were being lifted as I was getting things out of my space. And there are a couple things that I do regret getting rid of, but literally I can think of two things out of the probably 10 trash bags of things I would clear out a couple times a year out of our house. Maybe not quite that much, but maybe 10 trash bags total. I don't know, a lot of stuff. But it also just made me realize that I didn't have to hold on to things like in the present day either. Um, like Christmas cards. I love getting Christmas cards from our friends and our family, and we keep them up all Christmas season long. And then normally I will put them in my like Christmas box. And so then next Christmas, like when we go to open it and get out all the decorations, we can look back at those Christmas cards, but then I can recycle them because I'm getting new ones in the mail. Sometimes if they have a picture on it, I will save those ones. But for the most part, you know, if a card doesn't have like a super nice sentiment or something like that, I will just go ahead and recycle it because like it served its purpose and it made me feel good in the moment, and I'll keep it up for a couple weeks. Or if it's like something that I do want to remember, but I don't want to keep the physical item, then I can take a picture of that specific thing, which pictures is like a whole another thing. I have so many pictures I need to sort through, and I do not like doing that. So that's probably just going to be a different issue for me to tackle one day. But it made me realize that the things just don't matter. Like they're temporary, it's material, it's going to be gone one day. I can't take it with me when I leave. And so it just kind of helped me shift my mindset to investing in things like trips and experiences and memories, basically, instead of spending all of my time out hunting for one specific, you know, decoration that I was looking for. I could spend that time at home with Dylan, like making dinner or doing a fun project, versus everything being revolving around filling my house with more shit. So anyway, by the time we moved out of our last house, like even though that house felt like home, it was pretty bare. Like there was hardly anything on the walls. All the walls were gray. That way, if I ever wanted to change up like what decorations were in there, I felt like gray was very neutral and would match whatever like color scheme I wanted to do. And also, it was just simpler. Like I was able to paint like the whole house one color versus, you know, multiple rooms, different colors. And I just was really addicted to making my life simpler. And I feel like now in this house, we moved into this house, which was like slightly bigger than our old house. It's not huge by any means, but we were living in a teeny tiny house. So it felt huge to us, and it felt so empty and like sad almost. Like I didn't put things on the walls for a long time because I just didn't want to commit to anything. And then I was worried about feeling like claustrophobic if I did put things on the walls. But then I just had to look at it and say, is this serving me anymore? Is it making my house feel like a home, or is it holding me back from really embracing this new house and making it my own? And I think I just found out that's what was going on. I wasn't giving myself permission to make changes and to invest in decorating the house or making changes that would actually make me happy, because I felt like I needed to stay in that box of simplicity and a more minimal house. And it was just like kind of sad. Like I didn't enjoy it. And so now it's kind of funny because my office is like the catch-all room. I hate that this room has gotten to be this way, but I don't know about you. It's like my own spaces I always leave last to tackle. And I am surrounded by so much stuff right now. It's actually like a little bit stressful looking at all the things that are out of your view. And I know I need to tackle this space, but bringing things into my home and having them on display in the other areas of my house has actually been really good for me. I love seeing like my baking ingredients on the counter. Or like I've got oatmeal in a clear canister on the counter. And I love like just seeing that texture and those colors. And that sounds like so dumb. But I don't know, it's something that feels cozy and welcoming to me. Like it's just sitting there waiting to be used, but I'm not decorating with like useless things. Now, I do have some useless decorations, but they make me happy. And that is the key, is like filling your house with things that do make you happy. That's the key to all of it. And I think I can still take a minimal approach to some things without being extreme. Like Dylan jokes, and I joke all the time, like Harper's not going to have anything when we die. Like I'm going to have gotten rid of it by then. So I'm also just trying to learn, where is the line? Where is my limit? What things do like earn that special place in my home to stay stored, and maybe put back for years down the road. And so then it's just like a much more curated collection of things versus your favorite things getting lost in all of the clutter and all of the other things that you don't really enjoy, but you feel obligated to hold on to. And so I actually feel like I'm in a really good place right now when it comes to like my approach to how our home functions, and not necessarily being as minimalistic as I used to be, but not being a maximalist because that would drive me insane. But it's kind of nice to walk in and like there's pictures on the walls and pillows on the couches, and it feels so much more inviting. And so I'm glad that I have kind of shifted my mindset when it comes to those things. And I think I talked in another episode about feeling guilty for wanting to organize my space, because I felt like if I had that many items, I had too much. Like I should never have so many things in my house that I feel like I have to organize them, if that makes sense. And it probably doesn't, but that was like a huge mental block for me. I deprived myself of certain things that would make my life easier or just more enjoyable, simply for the fact that I wasn't allowing myself to carry something into my home, versus I would go out and buy something else that I definitely didn't need. And because I like categorized it in my brain differently, I could have that thing. Like it just made no sense at the time. So anyway, I'm trying to think more about spending my time and my money and reserving the space in my home for things that I truly love. And I think I can do that in this more like middle of the road kind of way, where I can keep my clutter minimal. I can keep the things I have nice and organized, and I can stop from constantly bringing things into my house that I'm just going to try to donate one day. Because that's the other really unfortunate thing about decluttering and being minimal, is when you're getting rid of your stuff, you take so much of it to donations or like the thrift shop or whatever. And like right now, they are getting overrun with things. And I think like the rush of like getting rid of things really contributed to that. And so I'm really just trying to think of how I can repurpose things or even sell them so that like hopefully they're going to a different home versus going to, a donation facility and then getting thrown in the trash, or taking it to a more specific donation place than just the thrift store, like a shelter or something like that, where I know that the items I'm taking are going to be in good hands and not just end up in a landfill somewhere. So I try to buy things that aren't necessarily like disposable, right? But if I don't have a use for it anymore, I will hang on to it now because in this house I have the room to do that. And then that way, if I'm looking for something specific, I can kind of go to my stash of things and go back through it and then be like, oh, well, maybe I can use this for this new project, even if it sat in the box for 2 years. So just trying to be more mindful of that, I think has also been better for me because like years after I had gotten rid of a bunch of stuff in my house, I did kind of feel guilty for just dumping it at a donation center versus, trying to rehome it or repurpose it or something like that. Or even just getting frustrated because I would get rid of something immediately when I felt like I didn't need it anymore. And then a couple months later, I would go to Walmart and rebuy it again. And I know a lot of people who talk about this, they say, like, get rid of stuff, you can always rebuy it later. And I get that to an extent, and that's very true. But you can also be responsible with how you do that and make little shifts in your house. Like, I didn't feel like I could have like plastic plates, which is like so dumb, but I had like my regular, ceramic plates for dinner time, whatever. And I found myself like buying paper plates because I didn't always want those ceramic plates. And sometimes when you're sitting on the couch or whatever, you want a different kind of plate. Anyway, so then I was like buying paper plates often at the grocery. Uh, and then I was like thinking about the amount of waste I was creating because I was doing that. And then this past like dorm season, when Target had all of their cheap like plasticware and stuff out, I bought like 20 plates for 50 cents. And I have a little cabinet above the fridge that I can't reach anyway. And I was like, you know what? I want to buy these and use them for like those days that we want to sit outside and eat and we don't want to take like our ceramic plates. And I'm going to use them for birthday parties because I feel like with having a child, I could spend a lot of money over the next 18 years buying party plates and just throwing them away. And I know party plates are fun and like I'm not trying to be a not fun mom. Trust me. I will be a fun mom and I will probably buy like little cake plates that are like matching the theme or whatever. But I was like, if I buy these 50-cent plates now and buy 20 of them and I can just throw them in the dishwasher after a party, like that to me just makes more sense. So it's not minimal in the fact that I'm taking up more room in my house. I have more items, but it's more minimal in the fact that I'm not going to be spending money on party plates over and over again. I'm hopefully will never have to buy paper plates again because I have these plates. And so it's less waste, like physically, and then less money that I'm spending like every year or every time I feel like I need paper plates. So anyway, I don't know if that was like a good analogy, but those were the stupid like shifts I was making to justify not having like a permanent physical item in my home, but it just didn't make sense financially or economically, or those are the same things. Or like, you know what I mean? It was wasteful, is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, with that, I think my brain is a little fried at this point. I hope that this episode made sense. I was just really thinking about like, oh my God, I used to be like so minimal and I used to like be obsessed with talking about it and getting rid of stuff. And my mindset has just really changed around that. And I'm pretty proud of myself. So thank you for letting me take this opportunity to kind of pat myself on the back. But also, I hope that like if you're kind of with me where, you were into the minimalist thing, but you've kind of outgrown it, that you just know that it's okay. And this could be an exciting like new season of life where we bring some things back into our home that we really love or just don't feel guilt around having things in general because life is short, and if there is something physical that will make you happy, then you should have it in your life. So thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments if you're like a minimalist or a maximalist or if you're somewhere in the middle. I'm just curious because now I'm kind of like middle of the road, I guess. But anyway, I will see you in my next video.